Hello. I thought I would do a little recap of yesterday's Knit for Food knit-a-thon that is coordinated on the East Coast, and I'm on the West Coast. I am trying, I participated now for 4 years, and it's been going for 6 years, and I would love to form a West Coast group that could participate as a group together, because I've always done it just sitting at home in front of my Zoom computer. So anyway, it's a fun day where knitters around the world and country are coming together for one day to commit to knitting for 12 hours in order to raise funds for 4 organizations: Feeding America, No Kid Hungry, Meals on Wheels, and World Central Kitchen. And we hear from each of those representatives from each of those groups speak about their current state of funding and affairs. And I have some great information little sheets that I might put some of the graphics into a blog post to just share in case it's helpful or of interest to anyone, to pass along for people in these times where a lot of our safety nets are being threatened, governmental safety nets, or being reduced, I should say. And they raised this year over, so far, I believe it's 550,000, and all of the total will be higher, but it's the most that they've each year. It seems incrementally more has raised, and it seems like it does get divided between equally among the 4 organizations. And this year we had an added spokesperson from Hunger Free America. It's a policy group, actually, and that is, if you just go to that website, I think it's just hungerfreeamerica.org, you can find, it will direct you if for anyone in any location who's struggling with enough food for the month to get through the month, it will direct you to where in your location there are resources, from food banks to community fridges to different farm programs. So it just, apparently it's like a big repository of both information, data, and directing people anywhere in America, in the US. So I recommend, I'll put that link as well into my blog this month, and it just makes me feel so good that people are there's so many committed people in these organizations to viewing that food should be a human right, just as in healthcare should be a human right. So I see those as parallels. Like if a doctor takes an oath to both do no harm and provide care to anyone, regardless of belief. The same with food. Regardless of what your political beliefs are, you should have a human right to access to food, healthy food. So, so that's one thing. And each year we do there's this wonderful man named Carson Demers, Demers, and he has published a pretty definitive book on the ergonomics of knitting, actually, and it can also be in the workplace, ergonomics in the workplace, and he gives a lot of sort of physiotherapy type exercises you can do, just small adjustments and things in your day to to do something like try to knit for 12 hours. And he really affirmed that even though it sounds relaxing to knit for 12 hours, and most people who are non-knitters can't imagine it, it actually does a lot to tax your body. So as I was listening to him, I was thinking about how my entire existence has gone from full-time typing, repetitive motion, to then knitting as my hobby. And especially in the past few years where I have done less physical activity, it just drove home to me again that I need to embrace my instinct to intentionally be more active and try to counteract some of those effects. As well, I saw recently a video that a woman had put out called 60 is the Youth of Old Age. And I didn't even watch her video. I love that title so much, and it just stuck in my mind as like a mindset switch that as I turn 60 this year, my intention to put out there is to basically just continue to embrace the things that I used to like to do in my youth, things that bring me energy, joy, or contentment, and just that I have to accept that at my different phase of life, I need to take longer recovery time to do similar activities that I used to do with ease in the past. But that shouldn't stop me from doing them. So I do have more aches and pains due to a medication I'm on to prevent cancer recurrence. But I'm just intentionally letting that not stop me. So, just knowing that a little pain and that taking more time between activity for rest, physical rest, is just necessary, but not letting that stop me from doing it at all. I think I was kind of in a frozen state, which then, and I'm coming out of a severe depression period, so I'm doing great now. I'm really feeling like, things are falling into line, and I'm much more hopeful about my personal future, regardless of what's happening in the world, that I carry the weight of that, as we all do. So I'll just share what I did finish on during knitting for 12 hours. Some of the projects I worked on this is the Alchemist pullover, which is really wonky as it's not washed yet, but I finished cast off the base here, around the waist, and then picked up all these stitches around the neckline to make this ribbing. And I think once it washes out and kind of smooths out the wonkiness, it should be comfortable. It's very soft. I think it's super washable. It's from one of the swanky companies. Not swanky. I mean, I believe it's this. I always get the two companies confused out of South America, Malabrigo and what's the other one? Can't remember at the moment, but they're all these hand-dyed, luxurious things, and I always look for sales. And so I love this color, how it's like a blend of not really in-your-face purple, but it's like such a blend of greens and blues and purple. And especially in certain lights, like right now, it's a little bit dimmer light and it looks better in dimmer light, I think. Oh, as I said that, the sun is coming out through the window. And then I have this, as I was churning out red hats from my previous blog post. And that was just so much fun to meet people at a rally that were all wearing red hats, by the way. That was such a great conversation starter and a way to connect to people in a different way, because the premise of the hat was based on a tradition that goes back to Europe. And so most people that had made these, the conversations just started off talking about everyone's kind of family background, which was kind of unusual. Like, you don't normally just start conversations that way. It was really fun. I don't know why anyway, I don't know what's going on with the camera, but so this is a little mosaic piece that I've been working on between the hats, because I find that I need, definitely, when I'm trying to just churn out something and be a production knitter, that's not really why I like to knit. I've always got to have something that just is more challenging, and not just that fully repetitive motion, as much as I would like to make the entire world a hat. But yeah, just not practical. This was like a knit along that I saw for, I believe, the Portland, Oregon yarn crawl. I do not live in Oregon, but sometimes I just see these things that catch my eye, and I'm just like, oh yeah, I'll sign up. And even though I don't tend to participate in the group, I'm just like, get the pattern from it, and then I have scraps of yarn. So it's not exactly like, this green does not obviously go with this green, so it's not like ideal colors, but it was just fun. It's a really fun pattern to work on. It's not washed. I think it'll smooth out more, and especially this wonky little picot edging will flatten out. So I just use, small amounts of yarn that I have left from other projects whenever I see something that's fairly small, and it would make a good neck shawl kind of thing. And then last yarny bit, I am making several hats for my aunt who will be soon moving to Alaska. I believe the last time she was there, it was like 20 below, 15 below, something like that. And she was like, I'm going to need some warm hats. So I have some thick wool, and I just wanted to share this pattern in case I just remind people who may be familiar already. It's called A Twisted Affair. I've made a bunch of these. It's by Joji Locatelli, who is an amazing Argentinian knitwear designer. And this is a free pattern on her Ravelry or her website. And I just highly recommend it, because it's fairly simple, memorizable once you get it down. And then you can just make a fairly quick cabled hat out of, it goes quickly because it's worsted weight yarn, or you could use DK weight as well, whatever you have on hand. But so let's see, that's it. And then I will just have I'm still working on those cotton bags that I mentioned back in the past of last summer, I think. I am still trying to, I think I made 4 of these bags, and I will be going back to that after I get out of this hat thing that I'm in, hat rut. And then I will, hopefully making these bags will be something that will be kind of my first attempt to sell a reproducible product. It's a free pattern off of Pearl Soho, which I've mentioned in distant past. So I can add that information if anyone's interested. But Um, yeah, so I'm trying to get back to that, and then I have on plan to make the Artus shawl by Natasha Hornby. I have all the colors, and I thought I would participate in the knit along with the woolly thistle. So I am waiting to start that. I'm late to the party, but they give away prizes if you document that you finished your shawl by a certain date. And so looking forward to that, just participating. And yeah, that's it for knitting news. And then I would like to just read something that came my way during right before Easter and Passover weekend, and it is a poem by Thich Nhat Hanh, a Zen Buddhist master. This is because since the pandemic, I have donated $5 a month to their organization and to the Thich Nhat Hanh Foundation. That is the International Plum Village community, and I just really appreciate. I've always loved his writings. He's just was a prolific writer, and his work has been translated into so many different languages. But anyway, this is a poem that just hit me right where I needed it at the moment I needed it, to remind me that my instinct to focus on the nurturing I get from nature and doing things to participate in maintaining nature, that is kind of one of the most important things that a human can do to be reminded of their humanity, I think. And that are where when we place our attention there, it's like you're participating in a feedback loop with nature. Whereas the impression I get from like my work at the computer, it just feels like I'm siphoning all this energy out and getting nothing in return. So this is called The Good News by Thich Nhat Hanh, written in 1992, before any digital media. So he's talking about print media. He was a very prolific writer, as I mentioned. And so I'll just read it. The good news. The good news they do not print. The good news we do print. We have a special edition every moment that we need you to read. The good news is that you are alive, and the linden tree is still there, standing firm in the harsh winter. The good news is that you have wonderful eyes to touch the blue sky. The good news is that your child is there before you, and your arms are available. Hugging is possible. They print only what is wrong. Look at each of our special editions. We always offer the things that are not wrong. We want you to benefit from them and help protect them. The dandelion is there by the sidewalk, smiling its wondrous smile, singing the song of eternity. Lo, you have ears capable of hearing it. Bow your head, listen to her. Leave behind your world of sorrow and preoccupation and get free. The latest good news is that you can do it. So, heartfelt goodwill to everyone out there. And think that's it. I'm going to merge this with a tiny clip of me being sort of loopy in the woods. Because that's just how I feel the happiest. And so I kind of, you'll see what I'm talking about. I'll add that right after this clip. Thanks for being here. Thanks for listening. This is what I and some people call the portal. It's just 2 fir trees that are near the parking lot of the grounds, and one of the parking lots. And they just form this doorway that is kind of the entrance to the trail that I'm in charge of. I'm not in charge. I'm just helping it out a little bit so people can walk through without getting grabbed by plants. Okay, see you later. Hello. I am sitting on a mossy log, and I had just finished my weekly trail maintenance. I'm finally made it through the section of trail over the past week that I am in charge of volunteering, and I am very grateful to be at the Whidbey Institute for this ability to be in these beautiful woods. And sorry, my camera is shaking. I don't have my tripod with me, but I just thought I would show a little bit of, you can see a little bit of the trail going down there, but I actually managed to lose one of my 2 tools. I only had 2 with me, and of course I lost one, and I found it in a pile of ferns. So oh gosh, my hand. Okay, I just wanted to share this is my favorite plant, actually, and I had to cut a bunch of these back out of the trail space so that people can actually walk. And in another maybe 2 months, the entire place will be full of them again, these fern fronds. This is a sword fern, and I got a large one that I cut. Look how long that thing is. Oh, sorry. Oh, man. This is probably making anyone seasick, or motion sick, but it is a super long sword fern, and I love ferns, and the back of them has all these spores that you can see, little spore capsules, and they really have been around since the time of the dinosaurs. So this is believed to be one of the oldest plants, earth plants in the world. I'm sure there might be ocean plants that are older, but anyway, sword fern, love it. And this was the largest one I cut, so I thought I would just share that. And yeah, the Whidbey Institute is 100 acres, over 100 acres of protected land that has a retreat center on it, and I have been able to access, the land is open to the public from dawn to dusk, unless there's an event unless you're trying to access one of the buildings when there's an event going on. But over the years that I've lived on this rock and island, I have really just appreciated this land, especially because it does not have dogs allowed. And that is like a very, very special bonus for me. I mean, it's special land to begin with, but it's the only place I can walk. I love trail walking, and I've walked pretty much every trail that exists on Whidbey Island, which is a 45 to 60 mile island, depending on who you ask. And this 100 acres, they don't allow dogs on. And I am so allergic to dogs that every time I have to, every few feet pretty much in any of the other trails, I have to explain to people why I'm backing away from their dog, that I don't hate dogs. It's just that, like, if they lick me, I will literally get hives running up my arm. So that's how bad it is. And an allergist has told me that they wouldn't even risk allergy shots. That's how bad. Anyway, so this lovely, lovely green, I will just be quiet and let the camera just look around a little bit. And I thought I would just tell you maybe what some of these plants are, the main plants that I've been trimming back off the trail. This is, oh shoot, I thought I was pointing it up and I'm pointing it up my nose. Okay, let me turn the camera around. Okay, so this is huckleberry, a native huckleberry, and it's just like everywhere. There's some glorious sun going through one of them, but it just grows super fast and grows over everything, and you pretty much have to just use big cutters to clip it back because it's branch-like and it just goes along the entire trail. So that's one main plant. And then the sword ferns, as mentioned. And then there's a native, let me see if it's, I think it's right here. I don't know if you can see that. But there's a trailing blackberry, to my understanding. And that is a native one, not the Himalayan blackberry. And it does have 3 leaves on it. So people have told me it's poison ivy. It is not. In the Pacific Northwest, it actually grows tasty little tiny berries. So anyway, I'm just so grateful to have this space near where I live and be able to volunteer. And so yeah, I'll just maybe get off my mossy log and just walk a bit. And I'm sure I will put this to music and I will just be quiet. This is pretty seriously cut back already, but you can see how many of these fern fronds. I just leave a few of the top ones hanging over because I don't want it to look completely naked, but you can just imagine how much cutting this is. This section of trail was really overgrown.